how are you? Because you alternately looked really excited and really angry over there.
It's always fun to watch these and to see, like, because a lot of times what I'll do is when we'll play against these, we won't talk about what they're using or what traits they have, and I'll just fight it and be like, what happened? Why am I immobilized? Why is he running away? I just stunned him. I don't even know what's going on. I hate you. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's actually really cool.
Now I understand.
But no, it's really cool. Big shout outs to Carl and the team because that looks really cool. Every time I come in here, when I sit in for PvP 101, I sit here the whole time and just watch these guys give out all their stuff. It always looks so cool. I'm like, man, maybe I'll play Necro. Maybe I'll play. Nah, let's play Warrior.
And you know.
But Ellie looks really cool. I just love the thought.
Almost made you play something else.
Almost, but not really. But no, I love the way the elementalists, all the horn skills seem to work so well together. They're like really well designed.
I've been having a lot of fun with them. So, but the thing is, it has felt a little bit like playing the piano.
Sure, I can definitely see that.
Which is something, it worked out well because this is a viewer suggestion that we do a PvP 101 on keybinds.
Yes.
Which, this could not be a better week for that because I know I have like a gamepad over on the left and I'm using so many of them when I'm playing my Ellie.
Yes. That's why, like, one of the things, it was really good because I have my own personal keybind setup for me.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, like, Elementalist is one of those ones that you really need to think about because you use all the Fs, right? You use all the side of your bar. And now with, like, especially with the overload attunements, you're going to be using those a lot more. Right. So today, we're going to go over some keybinds.
Teach me the ways of keybinds, Hugh.
So I'm going to show you a couple different variations. I know, honestly, the big thing about keybinds, guys, is do what feels good for you guys. Like, if you're used to, like, I'll show you mine, and mine is, it's the old school WoW. Because I was a big WoW player, right? That was my big first MMO. I played, Diablo, all those things, but they didn't have a lot of keybinds. When I played WoW, I was like, okay, I need to learn, like, tons and tons.
Speaking of playing the piano.
Yeah, especially, oh my goodness, especially when I was, playing my Warrior. Of course, that doesn't make sense.
What?
I don't know.
What?
And I'm sitting there with, tanking and doing all those things, and I'm having to, like, make sure I'm using the right skills on cooldown, make sure I'm doing interrupts at the right times. There's just so many things. But and when I kind of transition to any other MMO, I kind of set up the keybinds the exact same way. So I'll show you that, and I'll show you kind of where I see a lot of, like, the top PvP players, the way they set their keybinds up. For you guys to see if that makes sense for you guys. So I'll show you a couple different keybinds, guys. But again, it all comes down to you and also your peripherals. Like, I guess Ruby made a good comment there. Her mouse, you have a bunch of buttons on your mouse, right?
I have like just 6. It's not a ton, but I started using a gamepad because somebody gave me one, and it was a Logitech gamepad. And it was just something that I got used to. I don't think it's one that a lot of people use. But it's, again, what I'm personally comfortable with.
Exactly. And that's, again, if anything, guys, it's good when you first do it, when you first change it, it's gonna feel really weird, and it's gonna be
gosh, it was so
horrible. But at the same time, as you get used to it, you'll be like, wow, this is way better. Like, it just takes that little bit of time to get used to it. All right, but let's go ahead and jump in again really quick. I'm gonna totally hijack Carl's character here, which again was set up so beautifully. Oh my gosh, Carl, this is amazing. This is an amazing character. But let's go over keybinds.
Carl,
so
you are awesome.
First things first, let's show how to actually get into keybinds. So I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go to options. And then over here at the very left, you have control options. And that's where all your keybinds are going to be. So I'm going to show, like, first of all, this is, I don't want to default Carl's keyboard. I'm totally going to default Carl's guy here.
It's all good.
I'm going to tell him, be like, Carl, listen, I'm so sorry, but I hijacked your character. So let's go over.
If he comes back in this
room, I know,
room,
he's going to come back here and choke me. I'm like, that's for stunning me that one time. Or stun breaking my Earthshaker. So first things first, I'm going to kind of go over the basics of what I think a lot of players should do, especially for movement, because movement's really important. And it'll free up some buttons.
Yes.
So first things first, you have this thing called turn left, turn right, which is, I'm going to put it over here to the side, guys, make sure you guys can see, which is A and D. So A and D is you turn left and right. Now, if you hold your right mouse click, which a lot of people do when they're moving around, A and D becomes strafe, right? So what I like to do is instead of having straight left and straight right on Q and E, I just turn straight left to be A, straight right to be D. So now instead of me holding right click, I can just straight left and right. And I'm usually using the left mouse to turn my camera anyways, or my left to turn my camera anyways. So it just frees up those two buttons. So now I have Q and E available to myself, right? And for me, On Warrior, I use Q for burst skills, which would be the F1, and I use E for weapon swap. So I can use those two things to easily weapon swap. Now, to be fair, tilde is not a horrible button, but for me, that's what I've always been used to. But for attunements where you're going to have F1, F2, F3, F4, you're going to probably want some good buttons there that you can easily switch in and out. So I'll kind of show you what I got. So because we don't have a weapon swap, everything else here, guys, dodge and auto run, all those things, they're probably okay, but I'm going to be probably changing the R key to be something else when I get to that point for what I see a lot of the pro players do. But for now, I'll just kind of leave these where they are. So obviously 1 through 5 for weapon skills, totally fine. It's right there in your your 4-finger range to be able to. Because if I'm using WASD to run, I can easily put my fingers up here and be able to hit the 1 through 5.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're stretching.
Yeah, I don't have to stretch
halfway across the keyboard.
As soon as you start getting to 6, that's when I start realizing I'm like, all right, I don't have like super small hands, but I don't have the biggest hands in the world.
Yeah.
So 6 is where I start going like I may accidentally hit 5 when I want to hit heal, right? So for me, I'm gonna show you mine first, and then I'll kind of go to whatever I see a lot of people do. I'm used to hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for me, when I was playing WoW, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do like a multiplier here or an additive. I'm gonna do Shift 1 for my heal, Shift 2 for all my utilities, and my elite Shift 5. So this is the way I do it. Oops, I accidentally took out my backspace there. Oops. I'm just all over the place. There we go.
All right. Now we have just enormous, like you have to type a sentence to do things.
Yeah.
I want to heal now.
So for me, I've always been like, okay, this is my weapon skills, and whenever I want to use the utility, I can do all my shifts. So I use my multiplier, my pinky, because I don't use my pinky when I'm using WASD to run around. So my pinky is kind of available to me to like use however I choose, and I use Shift because Shift isn't a like you don't use Shift anywhere in the game for anything. So by holding Shift, I can still hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have access to all my utilities. And while releasing Shift, I have access to all of my weapon skills.
Okay.
But that still leaves me with, what do I do for my attunements?
Yep.
Because again, depending on how your keyboard's set up, especially these keyboards specifically, the F1 through 4 is really small. It's really small, and they've got little spaces in between. Yes. Yeah. So depending on your keyboard, F1 through 4 may be hard to get if you're playing on a laptop, if you're playing things like that. It's really hard to get to those keys. So for me, I'm going to go back into options over here. I use, when I play Elementalist, because I do play Elementalist occasionally, and I'm used to Q and E, right? I'll do F1 will be Q, F2 will be E.
Because you've got it freed up now.
Because I have it freed up, it's right there, and I'm usually going into water the most for healing. I'm going into fire the most for damage, so I want to do those. And then I'll do Shift Q for 3 and Shift E for Earth. So now I can easily switch between my attunements without really having to even lift my fingers all that much to go straight into anything by just hitting, Shift E, Shift Q, all those things. And I'm easily going between all my attunements, and I don't have to reach far. My fingers stay right where they are, and I can do all those things. So that's the way I do it, because then all my professions, everything is in a very tight little window, right? And all the buttons, depending on your keyboard, are nice and, they're leveled, they're everything like that, so you can really feel the buttons. You don't have to, like, search. There's not much searching.
They're pretty close together. So making use of, like, the Shift key is a huge helper, because it pretty much gives you a second key set to work with.
Exactly. And everything you're familiar with, now you can bind all those buttons with Shift to something else, other action that you're used to. If I'm used to hitting 1 for something, Shift 1, totally different thing.
Right.
And I see a lot of people, they'll use their thumb and they'll use it for Alt or anything like that. So there's different ways that you can do it. I've seen people with really big hands use the second Alt to the right of the space bar, depending. Yeah, no, I've seen some crazy things. But so that's what I see. And then usually on your mouse, like this mouse here it has 4 buttons and a middle mouse click. The other thing I like to do is take target, call target. So when I'm in PvP and I'm trying to take a target or I call a target, I use for call target, I will use one of my mouse buttons. So usually I have a side mouse button for my thumb, where my thumb is, but that isn't the case here. But I'll use this for now. So this will be mouse 4. So now when I'm running and I'm fighting, I have everything attack-wise on my left hand, but when I'm moving and doing stuff like that and I'm calling targets using tab and stuff, I can use my mouse button to call target. And then I do this exact same thing for take target. So I'll use the other mouse button to take target. So if someone calls target for me, I can then use the other buttons, like I don't have a target right now. If I'm not even looking at this person and I use my mouse button, I can take the target. And again, I know, okay, there he is right there. And this is really good for like guardians or anyone with teleport skills that will teleport to a target. If I don't know where he is, I can easily take a target that somebody has targeted for me. And as long as my bar here says that I'm in range to use it, if I have a teleport skill, it will teleport me to that person. 90% of the time. There is some circumstances when there's height and whatnot that it may not make it. But
you may have just changed one of my keybinds.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. But you also have to remember, you know, your mouse over here, I'll show it here, has buttons as well that you can totally bind. Like middle mouse is totally an option. And I use middle mouse button for like when I would be in WoW, that would be my interrupt. And I would always use middle mouse because I know I'm watching, I'm doing all my skills here, but I need something right now that I know I'm not gonna miss. 100% I know this button right here, no other button, I'm not touching anything. I know 100% where this button is, I know I'm gonna hit it, and I know it's gonna do what I need it to do, right? So those are something to look at.
So that actually, I'm gonna pause because that brings me to a thought. Another tip on there is get creative and don't just stay in the tiny box of what you have here.
Yeah.
Because that button, that's actually the mouse that I have at home. That middle mouse button there is my voice chat button.
Yeah.
And I asked you a long time ago, what do you do for voice chat? Because everything you've said doesn't leave you anything for voice chat. Do you just have the always on mic or what?
So
this is my favorite story.
I have, there's two things. One, I do use just my regular mouse and I have two mouse buttons and one of them is talk and one of them is take target and my middle mouse is to take target, right? Call target, take target. But I have seen, and this is hilarious. I have seen people that will have a second mouse. It's usually the mouse that like has broken or you know is not great. And what they'll do is they'll take it, they'll put it on the ground, like they'll plug it in, put it on the ground, and they'll use their foot, and they'll use that as the foot pedal to voice chat. So I just remember because my buddy was talking to me. I went over like a LAN party. I was talking to my buddy, and he was like talking on vent, and I was looking, and I was like, he's like in his chair. It's like chilling back, like waiting for us to start or whatever. And he's talking on event. I'm like, what? What are you doing? Like, you have voice? He says, no, I click it. And he like clicked it on and off. And I'm like, what are you using? And he's like, just kind of slid out and pulled a mouse out from under his desk. And I was like, oh my god, I'll never use any more of your spare mice ever again. First of all, and second, it was awesome. I was like, wow, that's a really cool idea. Like. I never even thought of like using my old mice that break or like the left click breaks, but I can use you could use it for weird, funny things like that.
You know, don't rule that stuff out. Don't rule that weird stuff out because I thought that was such a great tip. I'm still stuck on my middle mouse key because that's where my muscle memory is. But yeah, so do what feels comfortable to you. I mean, I know I started just running around when I started trying to redo my keybinds. I looked around at some examples. I mean, I looked at things like this to see what are other people doing to get me started, and then I just started building what felt good to me. And you're gonna be clumsy.
It is gonna feel weird.
You're gonna have to. It's just like PvP. It turns out you're not gonna be great at it at first. You need to build up that muscle memory. But yeah, there are just so many combinations in there, and it's all about what feels good and what works for you.
Yep.
And that shift key, which I'm gonna start making use of really quickly.
Super good. If you're not used to the shift key, I'll show the other one that I see a lot of people do real quick. It's using all of the buttons around WASD. So I've seen stuff like this where healing will be Q, utility 1 will be E, utility 2 will be R. Now this is the one that's a little weird. F as utility 3, C is elite skill, and then they'll go like this, and then they'll have like dodge will be like X. Or something like that, and they'll use these. Their entire around WASD is used.
Just this entire left-hand side.
Exactly. So they don't have to do shift because I will say sometimes if you're not used to it, holding shift, like you'll get into a point where you're getting like super pressured, and you'll want to heal. So you'll hold shift, and you'll hit 1 to use your heal, but then you're super scared right there, so you're still holding shift and then trying to use weapon skills, and you're popping all your utilities and elites. So shift is something I've been using for way too many years to ever count, And so I'm used to it.
But you've got that muscle memory built up, and that's it's hardwired for you now.
Exactly. So, but I would say, guys, if it's something that you want to try without using a kind of multiplier or something to add to the buttons, try looking at around your keys what makes sense to you. Because some people really love to use the ZXCV for the utilities and elite. Like they'll use that whole bottom half. So essentially the top half is weapon skills, bottom half is utilities and elite, and then they'll use like Q and E for like heal and like dodge roll and stuff like that. Though it all comes down to preference, but those are the two I've really seen, guys, is around WASD or a multiplier with like shift or caps lock or alt or control or whatever. Whatever makes sense for you guys. But the one thing I want you guys to do, try something. Go out of your comfort zone, change your keybinds up, and I'll say this especially for PvP 101, go into PvE. Don't try this in PvP, because it's going to get frustrating. Go in PvE,
really is.
Try your keybinds there, fight the mobs that you always fight, and just kind of get used to that rotation, because that's what it feels like, right? You're getting in a rotation again, like, okay, I'm usually dodge roll here, I usually use my elite here, I gotta make sure to pop my heal here, and go there and fight just mobs. Just go out, don't fight anything super crazy when you start out, just take it easy, fight some mobs, get used to it, and then once you feel pretty comfortable, then start fighting, like maybe go try doing a dungeon with them.
Yeah.
Go try doing like a jumping puzzle and using like the skills, getting the most skills of using like your swiftness skills at the right times when you really need them, or like your stun breaks if you fall and stuff like that.
Yeah, PvP might be less frustrating at that point.
That is true. That could be a thing.
Take it on your own personal preferences. Jumping puzzle, PvP with the new keybinds, but start with. I mean, don't completely overwhelm yourself and be like, okay, I have to redo all my keybinds. Forget it. I'm logging out and I'm leaving. I'm done. Go with the thing that you find frustrating when you're playing. Like, oh gosh, I wish I didn't have to do this, or I wish this didn't feel like that. Change that. Make it better for yourself. One
of the big things is always the feeling when people have to, one, click their skill because they're afraid they're going to miss it.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not. I've seen some crazy. I saw someone play a Counter-Strike on a mouse ball. Yeah, think about that. Yeah, and he was on a pro team. Like I saw someone move in Counter-Strike with a mouse ball, like running through the map, spinning the mouse ball, and was destroying people. So there is no, like, same thing like fighting games. Everybody used to make fun of people who played on pads. Now pad is totally accepted because you know why? It's whatever you're comfortable with.
Right.
If that's what that person's comfortable with, like, so I won't take it away from anyone who click the skills. If they can beat you, it still works.
Then, if they can beat you clicking skills, then go for it.
But I will say, keybinds is always going to be something you should look to try to optimize your play.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for coming and hanging out and helping us with this Warhorn Tempest.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm the best at Warhorn Tempest.
You are not the best.
Oh man, look at me. Oh man, Carl.
You are not the best at Warhorn Tempest.
I'm so good at this.
Thank you guys very much. We will see you on the next Points of Interest.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Welcome back. Thank you, Hugh. How's that jet lag working out for you?
Oh, it's awful, awful. But we're back. We're back.
Everybody back from Gamescom looked so tired when they were like staggering around the office, and there's a few people taking a 3-day weekend. Well deserved.
Yeah,
you guys
definitely.
Worked so hard. So how was it?
Oh my God, it was a lot of fun. Everybody keeps asking me how was Germany. I have no idea.
How was Gamescom?
Yeah, I was at Gamescom.
Did you
7
leave the
days.
building, or did you just like sleep under one of the testing
I
desks?
felt like that's what it was. Like I was pretty much there on the floor most of the day, and then hanging out, and then pretty much going with the team to go get dinner, and then hanging out with them, talking with them, and then going to bed, waking up and doing it all over again. I didn't get to see much of Germany at all. It was like walk to the train station, immediately go to Gamescom, stay there, and then survive the rest of the day.
I heard the air conditioning wasn't the greatest. That was like one of my big takeaways.
I mean, I've gone to many a fighting game tournament and have smelled the mean streets of fighting games, and it was very similar. Let me tell you, you'd walk in there, you're like, my people. My people, I have arrived.
No.
No, so, it wasn't that bad actually. It wasn't. Some people were commenting about it. I'm like, you guys have
no idea.
You have no idea what I've lived through, what I have smelled. You have no idea.
You don't know where I've been, man. You don't know my life.
So, but no, yeah, it wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah. So you were on the main Twitch stage with Jebro.
I was.
How was that? I mean, I know you're not used to being on camera. I know.
Oh, I know. I'm very.
You were probably really nervous.
Yes, very nervous. So I was kind of like the man running between everybody, kind of getting everybody set up, talking to the teams, making sure they were ready, getting ready to play, what their order was going to be, stuff like that. I was in charge of Orange Logo. It was one of the main teams, one of the EU teams with Rom. Everybody knows who
Rom right now is like, when did you become team captain?
I know. No, I was kind of helping those guys out.
Mean.
But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun being back there. I mean, it's amazing seeing how hard, how much hard work goes into like the ESL booth and what they have to do and the things they were doing just to keep everything running, and then having, Josh was in the back doing all like the production style stuff, so he was giving us cues, letting us know when to do stuff. Also, herding PvP players is like herding a bunch of cats, so that was always fun.
I feel like the cats might be slightly
that was actually more of a knock to the cats, not the players.
Yeah.
No, I love those guys. They're a lot of fun, but it is a lot of fun. I know on their end they're super focused. They're super nervous. They're trying to play, and so like.
Well, this was the WTS finals. I mean, this was for the really big check.
Yeah, and it was funny because it'd be like, all right, hey, you're gonna go on. You gotta get your team ready. You're gonna go on in like 2 minutes. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get a smoke. Okay, let's come back. Let's come back. You're on in 2 minutes, which means you need to be ready in 2 minutes. All right, cool. I'm gonna use the restroom. I get something to eat real quick. I gotta go phone my mom.
Road trip.
Whoa! You had like 20 minutes before this to do that. Like, come on, guys. But yeah,
I can only imagine how high your nerves are ratcheted up at that point. You're just like,
It was great because you're like, all right, okay, let's go. 5 guys. Let's go. 1, 2.
Two.
Guys? And like, dude comes out with like a Coke. He's like, oh, we on? Yes, get on. You gotta get on the stage right now. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. I mean, honestly, I can't tell you what it's like being in the backstage, being in the audience. Some of the people that were there, that were at the booth watching it, didn't leave. They were there for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Literally came in the beginning of Gamescom on that Saturday and did not leave until Gamescom closed, which was when we ended.
Oh, man.
I mean, and then they wanted to talk to the players, and the players, super mentally drained, physically drained, came down and talked to these guys. I mean, those guys are class acts. Every one of them was great. So big shout outs to you guys, both the community and the PvP players.
Yeah, it seems like everybody did really, really well. And I can imagine, I mean, we laugh at that last 2 minutes. Like you're on it.
Oh, I know.
And I imagine at that point, anything to keep you from completely freaking out and not thinking too hard about what's at stake right now is probably really, really welcome. I will smoke, I will go get a Coke, I will go eat a meal, anything just to get me through the next 2 minutes without completely losing my mind.
No, yeah, and one of the big things, because I won't say that I've been in these kinds of high-stakes situations, but I've played competitive games. I've played these things
You've
before.
Been in some pretty high-stress situations.
I have been. So what I like to do with the guys, especially for some of the guys that this is the first time on stage, this is the first time playing in a big event like this, was just go to them and just be like, what do you need right now? What can we do right now to kind of help you? And then kind of making sure you keep the team together, because one thing you don't want is wandering eyes, wandering minds. Keep everybody focused. So one of the things I told like the guys who were in the back, I had Carl with me, I had Zach. Zach was one of our programmers in competitive. I was like, just make sure you guys stay with your team. Just stay with your team. Just keep them together. Keep them focused. If they start thinking and wandering and stuff like that, just, hey guys, what do you need? What can I do for you?
If you need a thing, let me know. I will bring you whatever soda or whatever snack.
Exactly. Because one of the things I noticed, especially for some of the newer guys, is they would wander a little bit. They would kind of like stick away from their team. They would think about, hey, go sit with your team. Think about what you guys are going to do. Talk about some stuff, or keep your mind off. Whatever you can do. But I think that was one of the biggest things, was just like watching all of their personalities come through, watching them stick together as a team, talk to each other. They'd be in losers bracket, and they'd be talking about, what can I do? Like watching the Absurd. That was, if you guys haven't seen it, go back and watch the match between Orange Logo and Absurd. The first match they came up in winners, there was the second match of the day. That was some of the best matches I'd seen in competitive PvP in Guild Wars 2 ever. Like everything was back and forth. Everything came down to the last minute. And then Absurd went to losers. Spoilers, but Absurd went to losers.
Oh yeah, surprise.
But then,
the statute of limitations and spoilers on this tournament way over.
Yeah. I mean, but then they came back to win the whole thing. But you should have saw them when they came back. They were not defeated. They were like, all right, what can we do better? They were immediately talking about it, immediately getting engaged. Backstage, thinking they had some computers back there. They were immediately going in, what can we do better? They kind of thought about it. They watched the matches of the people going. But it was awesome to see all the sides do that. When they'd win, when people would win, they weren't satisfied. They came back. They started talking about the next matchup. What are we going to look for? What are we going to do? And it was great. All those guys, like I said, I've been around a lot of competitive players in my day, but those guys did really class acts. Really, really class acts.
They really did. And I was watching, I overslept. I didn't get to see as much.
Yeah, it was very early.
It was like 1 in the morning, I think. And I woke up at 5 and went, oh no. And I'm like down there with headphones so I don't wake up anybody else in the family.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all look just super focused.
Yes.
I mean, really, okay, what do we need to do to walk away with this?
Yep.
Yeah. So what was your best Gamescom story?
Okay.
You told me you had some, right?
I got a couple.
Give me your best Gamescom stories, plural.
Okay. So one was we were having some problems with the ESL booth.
I heard about this.
We didn't even get the game technically functional until 20 minutes after we were supposed to start. So we're supposed to start at 10 a.m. our time. It was like 10 o'clock, and we couldn't even get people into matches. Josh is being a boss. He's like rolling through. He's like, guys, we got to get this. Give us 15 minutes. I'm sitting there with like Susan.
He's like so focused.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's cool as
But there was a moment there where we're like, all of us kind of had that face. We're like,
what are we gonna do?
We may have to cancel WTS. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. There was that moment where we were like, I don't know what we're gonna do. But then Josh was like ready. He was like, guys, don't worry, we're gonna get this done, do this and that, and then everything worked. And we were like, we're on, boys. Let's do this. Let's get this going.
1,000-foot Ethernet cable. I'm going next door. I'll be right back.
we were so in, and then all of a sudden, like, we switched to the next game, and everything broke again. And we were like, don't worry, just keep it rolling. No, and if you go back and watch, and you really think about it, you really won't notice that all these things were happening. But luckily, you probably didn't see me. I was like a chicken with my head cut off, running through, like talking to people, making sure everything's going. What do we do? Let's get the IT guy out here. Let's talk to this. Susan's calling people back at home, talking to all these things, doing everything in the world. A boss.
Susan is amazing. Susan is one of our IT techs who went over to Gamescom with us, and I was at PAX East with her, and we had some. It seems like there's always some sort of technical difficulty. I don't know if it's like in the contract when you go to a convention.
It is.
Some sort of hardware, something in the background has to break.
Yes.
And Susan was just unbelievable while
Susan,
she was there.
Susan was amazing.
She's like, I am here. Everything is fixed now.
Yeah. Josh, again, did a really good job. I want to take a big shout out to Katie as well. She organized everything for us.
Our events manager.
Yes, she organized. She got everybody there. She got us all safely. She had us all booked for foods, rooms, everything. She is amazing. So a big shout outs to Katie as well. I want to make sure I say that because she did such an amazing job.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If you ever are at one of the conventions where we are there, Katie will be there. She will be the one holding us all together.
Yes.
She gets us there. She gets us home.
Yes.
Stop and tell her thank you because I cannot believe how hard Katie works.
So again, big thing out to you, Susan, Katie, Josh, everybody in the ESL booth, everybody players, but thank you specifically to those players or those people because they really, really brought it all together.
Yeah, they pull off miracles. And
they do.
No idea how.
Oh yeah, I don't even know how they do it.
We don't congratulate them enough. So
yes.
Yeah.
So another funny story. That was the day of.
And it's okay because now it's over.
It's over.
We know it's fine.
It's funny now, but boy, let me tell you, I was like, at the end of the day, I was. Beginning of the day, I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. This is where I die right here on the stage.
This is it.
They're gonna cut back. I'm just gonna be laying on the computer. It's just done. I think the other one that was really funny was like the day that the players got in. I love my boys, Orange Level. I love those guys. But they are notorious for being, party guys. They like to go out to the drinks. They like to have fun.
I've heard this.
Yes, they're big guys on that. So the next day, we come in and they're like, Hugh, you know what? We got to get your teams up. We're going to be going to the ESL booth to take some photos. Don't worry. It's at 10 o'clock, so they have plenty of time to rest. Psh, I know my boys. I know that. I woke up early and I'm gonna start calling rooms. I'm gonna start calling rooms.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. I was that guy. As I knew.
Why weren't you banging on the doors?
No. I was.
Okay.
So it starts off and I'm like, let me call everybody rooms. I had the rooms written down ahead of time because I knew. Call a room. Nobody. Let me call another room. Nobody. Let me call the last room. Nobody. All right. I'm going to call it 7 more times. So I called each room 7 times.
Hugh.
I am that guy. I am that guy.
You're not screwing around.
No. So I was like, no one picked up. I was like, you know what? It's time to go be the police. Walk to the rooms.
Wait a minute.
I'm kicking doors.
Hold on. Were you at the same hotel? Or were you different? Okay.
I was at the same hotel. I'm kicking doors. I beg nothing. I'm like, okay, you know what? Now I feel like maybe I wrote the names wrong doors down. I'm going to go downstairs and then be like, oh, yeah, no one's in those rooms. I was like, no. So I go downstairs. They're like, oh, yeah, those are the rooms. I'm like, oh, heck no. No, they did not just not answer the door on me. So I start calling people's rooms again. All of a sudden, one person finally picks up. I'm not going to name the name. And then the person's like, oh, hey, Hugh, who's this? Oh, they're like, I'm like, hey, you got to get downstairs. You have 10 minutes to get downstairs. You're supposed to have a breakfast an hour ago. Who's this? Oh, no. You got to get downstairs right now. hang up, they're good. All right.
Tell me afterwards who this was.
Oh, I will. So
Thank
then we go, and I go to the next room. I start banging on doors again, right? One of the guys opens the door. He's like, "Hey, Hugh, what's up?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You gotta be downstairs 5 minutes. 5 minutes." And I'm like, "What about this person? This person's notorious." He's like, "Hugh, don't worry. I got his key card. We're gonna go to his room right now. Your boss, high fives were exchanged. We're ready to go." I walk in, we key card this guy's room, right? I knock on the door first, no one, of course. Key card, open the door. Again, I'm not gonna name any names. This person jumps out of their bed with very little clothes. I'm going to say almost none. Starts bum rushing the door, right? And we're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" And he's like, "Whoa, what is going on?" I'm like, "You need to go downstairs. You have 1 minute. 1 minute. Get downstairs."
Why didn't you just stand aside and let them go out of the hallway?
I know. I should have.
Get out of the way.
And they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna take a shower." I'm like, "No, I think we had a miscommunication. I said 1 minute.
You're gonna have to smell like that.
Yeah, you have to go downstairs right now." Okay,
Oh,
cool.
no.
Walks to the bathroom, starts to shower. Walk to the next person who's in that room, right? You gotta get up. Let's go. We gotta go. Okay, cool. Nope. Pick him up. Come on, get out of the bed. We gotta go downstairs. I get them all downstairs, right? Get them all downstairs. Ready to go. Everything's good, except I'm missing one. I'm like, what? What's going on with the one? Go upstairs.
This is the best story.
I go upstairs, and I'm like, now mind you, we're already 5 minutes late now, right? Josh is in the van with all the other teams. Everybody's there.
Laying on the horn.
Everybody's there, right? And they're like, "Hugh, where's your team?" I'm like, "You have no idea what I've done so far this morning. I've seen way more of one than I've ever wanted to see. I've called rooms. I've been to the police. I've knocked on doors." I'm like, "Don't worry. I got my last guy. I'll go get him." We go up there, and he's like, "Hey, man, I have an injury." And I'm like, "Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He hurt himself last night. Oh, my God. He probably hurt his foot or something, like his leg. I'm screwed." He's like, "I hurt my foot." I'm like, "Oh, no." I immediately called Josh. I'm like, "Josh, one of the guys is hurt. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to do something." He's like,
He hurt his foot. Put him in the elevator.
"Yeah." I was like, "Don't worry. We'll come upstairs." I take a look, and he's like, I got a blister. And I'm like,
And this is how Hugh murdered someone in Germany.
I was like, "I need you to go sit on a bus, take a picture, and then sit on a bus to come back. You can't come downstairs with a blister." I'm like, "All right, no, it's okay. You know what? Hey, don't worry about it. We'll go." His team flies upstairs, and they're like, one of the guys is about to carry him. He's about to wedding carry him out. He's like, "I'll get you. I'll carry you down the stairs." And they're like, "No. I can't go. I got to stay." And I'm like, "All right, leave him. We're just gonna
Please
leave."
tell me he was screwing with you.
No. So we left, and we're like, and Josh called him. He's like, "You better get here, because I just need you to get here to take a picture." He winds up coming 10 minutes later and takes a picture. Everything was good. That was my first morning with the players.
You did well. So
It was a lot of fun. I love those guys.
here's a story that might help you. When my
Okay.
kids were younger and they wouldn't get out of bed for school in the morning, I put a raw egg in bed with them and just left.
I probably could have done that.
Over, because A, it's cold.
Sure.
And B, if they roll over and go back to sleep, it's going to be bad. So, just for next time.
But yeah, long story short, I had a lot of fun. Those guys were a lot of fun. It was definitely.
They're probably upstairs in the lobby waiting for
I
you
know,
right
yeah.
now.
I'm gonna go next time I see
orange
them.
logos at the door.
I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna be all messed up in the face. They're gonna beat me up. But no, honestly, those guys were a lot of fun. It was funny though, because they knew, because when they got in the bus, the first thing they told me was, "Hugh, I'm tired." And I'm like,
Were you like, really?
Really? I'm like, "What time did you get home?" "I don't know, like 5. I'm like, that sounds like fun.
All right. Your game's coming and have a little fun.
And then one of them was bad when they're like, I think I'm still drunk."
Oh,
Like,
okay.
guys, please, guys, please.
I thought you were about to tell me somebody threw up on the bus.
No,
and I was
please.
Get so upset.
I'm very sympathetic throw-upper, so I would just walked over, threw up on him, be like, "Now you deserve that. That was the breakfast you were supposed to have."
That's terrible.
Oh, here's something funny. I love, real quick, last one. I love the breakfast they served.
What was it?
So it was like very German breakfast. They had like bread and cheese,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Wow, okay, this is very German." And then there was like, you stupid white person food. It was like eggs, bacon, and like chicken wings, chicken nuggets. Like, I was like, man, I am going to eat this. I was like, if no one's going to eat these chicken wings, then why would they put them out? I'm going to eat every morning. I had some fried chicken wings, some chicken nuggets. I had ketchup.
I don't
eggs,
know what to do with
bacon.
this.
I was so happy. You had no idea. I was like, let me get some bread. No way, I'm going to get some chicken nuggets. I'm going to put some bread. I'm going to make a chicken nugget sandwich. I had some cheese on that mug. I had chicken nugget hamburgers every day.
Oh my God.
And I was like, if they're going to put it, I'm going to eat it.
And see,
I'm going to show them.
I'm that person that like eats some of like last night's leftover dinner.
Oh.
I'll just like reheat that for breakfast, and I
Sure.
don't mind that. So I'm okay with chicken wings. I'm just a little weirded out.
It was just probably the funniest thing on the first time. I was like super tired and like all tired and messed up because it's the first day. And I could walk over and I'm like, oh, eggs, oh, cool, yeah. And I pulled the next one. Oh, bacon, oh, yeah, all right, cool. Chicken nuggets. I was like, yeah, all right, chicken nuggets. I might as well get some chicken wings, buffalo chicken wings. Yeah, all right, I'll get some buffalo chicken wings. Well, what else we got in these, man? It was just great because I was like, man, they just know me so well. I was like, oh, breakfast items, obviously
Yes, the
chicken
hotel
wings.
was totally like, oh, Hugh is coming.
Yeah, Hugh's coming. Better get some chicken wings and some buffalo chicken wings and some chicken nuggets for me.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Oh.
All right, so you made it.
I made it. It was
Everybody
so much
made
fun.
It, even whoever had the blister. I also
Yeah,
know who that is
that-
afterwards too.
I love that, man.
You need to. You're going to need to start naming names as soon as we're off the air. All right, so WTS is over. I mean, we've been ramping up. These are like the best of the best.
Yeah.
But this is PvP 101. So now that we've done this WTS tournament, the guys have got the big check.
Yep.
That was like the best part for me, watching John come out with the check, like the
Yeah.
size of Rhode Island.
Yeah. And it was great because you're always afraid when you give it to them, they're going to be like, yeah. Oh.
Where'd it go? I was just impressed when they like effortlessly lifted up the gigantic lion statue.
Oh, well, thank goodness
Like,
we reduced
one
its
dude-
weight.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, it used to be
I thought
like-
it was still as heavy.
It did used to be like that moment where like we would like start biting our nails because that thing used to be like 50 pounds. So you'd be
Yeah,
like,
it was. Yeah, and
we're
then-
the winners. And then, like they fall down. We're like, no. But luckily it was only like
Give
10
it to Toker. He'll
Yeah,
just,
Toker would be like spitting on his finger, doing tricks behind his back, and then you
Right.
hand it to like somebody
I
else. They'd be
thought
like,
I didn't know we reduced the weight. I thought it was still as heavy. So when they walked up and were just like,
yeah.
I was super impressed.
Yeah. Yep. No, it was. We reduced the weight and made it much higher quality.
It's gorgeous.
It
It
was
looks
very,
great.
very beautiful.
All right, so we are the rest of us who are not on the WTS teams and not quite there yet. I'm close.
Getting there. Almost there, Ruby.
I'm not.
We also announced the leagues and ladder. That was pretty cool.
That's right.
So-
So what about those of us who want to get into that? And I mean, I know I'm not the only player who's going, PvP's maybe not my thing. That was me a year ago. That is not me now.
Yeah.
Can the new players who aren't that great get into?
Oh, definitely.
Leagues and
So,
ladders?
so I'll give you a little extra information. So one thing
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you guys, there's a blog we released on Curse. Check that out, guys. It's on curse.com. And then also we have the one that we released this Monday. It was on ours, also going over a lot of detail on that stuff. But one of the things I want to say specifically on PvP 101 would be like their divisions in this thing. So we have like the Amber and the Ruby and all these divisions, right? Each of them have different
Best
rules.
division.
Yes. So the first division, there's no backwards progression. So if you play, essentially we have the pip system. So I'll kind of give a quick overview. So you have pips, tiers, and then divisions. So you go through pips. Every time you win or lose, you either gain pips or lose pips. Each tier has 5 pips. So you get 5 pips, you go up a tier. And then each division has a certain number of tiers. So the first one has like 3 tiers. So after you go up 3 tiers, boom, you're out of that division. You're in the next division. You cannot progress back down a division. So you don't need to have that fear of I crossed over division and then I lost it when I lost the next match.
Right. It always gets better for you.
Yep. And so then once you cross the division, there's some new rules. But for the first division, for all the guys in PvP 101, if you play, you don't go back at all. You don't lose pips, you don't lose tiers, you don't lose divisions. So all you gotta do is win 15 games, you go over to the next division, and then you can lose pips, you can't lose tiers, and you can't lose divisions. Which means if you have a good win streak, couple wins, and you get over to a tier, you don't have to worry about losing and going back down a tier. So there's a little stopgate for you as a new player. As you go up, there's always these little stop gates, and then as you go further and further on, as you get to the higher divisions, that's when we start being like, okay, you can lose pips and tiers, but you can never lose divisions. So one of the things is you always have those small goals you can set for yourself, right? If I'm in the first division, hey, I just want to win a couple games.
Right.
Just want to go up. Want to go up, want to go up. Go across that division. Next one. All right, I want to get to my next tier. So I know I got to win at least 5 games in a row or something of that nature. Win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, win 2. And just as long as I'm going up. Set your goals. I want to go up 2 pips today. I want to go up this. I want to get to this next tier. And as you go up further, it's okay, I want to do it again. I want to win a couple. I want to win a couple. So it always kind of gives you that easy to understand, easy goal to set as a new player, as a coming in player, especially maybe not the best player in the world. You always have a goal to set, right? I can win, for like I said, first division, just win a couple. And then as you go forward, you have more newer goals as you go forward.
Right.
And then, of course, you get the division badge, which we talked about in the blog and stuff like that. You'll get your rewards. You'll get all the stuff, the back items, everything like that comes along with all these things. And that's the way it is, guys. And, you know, as you get better, as you continue to play in the leagues or just play PvP in general, you'll get better and you'll be able to set bigger and better goals for yourself as you go forward.
Yeah, so the takeaway there is that this system this is going to be for everybody. The system, there are rewards for, it's going to be worth your while no matter how new you are, even if you're just dipping the toes in the water like we were months ago.
Exactly.
This is still for you. So don't look at it and think, nope, leagues sounds intimidating, like a not good thing. I'm out. I don't want any part of it because it's for you.
And the worst thing the worst case is you try and you progress up to that first division, right? After you get to the first division, see how you feel, right? Play a couple more games, feel, because you can't go back anywhere, so you might as well at least try.
You're not going to lose progress.
Yeah, you cannot lose progress. So I highly recommend, guys, just like Ruby said, give it a try. You'll be surprised. You'll cross over a couple tiers. You'll get that badge next to your name, and you'll be like, hey, you know what? I think I can do this.
I actually had fun.
Oh. Yeah, I think I can do this. So, and then we try to match you based on your division, so you won't be fighting against legendary guys when you're in Amber, right? You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. We'll do our best to match. Now, obviously, if you're in queue for like an hour, we may have to pull some people that may be in a higher division for you like that. But I really don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be pretty. Yeah, but you get to play. I really think that people are going to be really excited about this, and I think people are going to really, really want to play and climb up. So I really don't think we need to worry about that.
You can only gain.
Yep. Yeah. So read the blogs, guys. Again, Curse has a really good one. We have one on our website.
Guildwars2.com.
Yep. So take a look, guys. Read it. See what you guys think.
Yeah.
And of course, I'll be mulling around on the forums and Reddit and all those things, listening to your guys' feedback and stuff like that. And as we go further on, I can reveal a lot more information about this thing. We'll keep all that feedback in mind.
Yeah, there's a lot more cool details coming.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
I know.
A
teleporting. Yeah. Oh, wow. I know.
Amazing.
Let's see. Am I going to use not Nightmare or Nightmare? Let's go with Nightmare.
Oh, my gosh. All right, so we are back with PvP 101. We're going to look at the Legacy of the Foe-Fire map today.
Yes.
But first, can we talk about this Berserker? Are you okay talking about the Berserker?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
All right, so should the rest of us just go home? Or
I wish.
How would you, excuse me?
I wish I could go home and play, but unfortunately I have to stay here and play. It's all right, though. I'm all right with that.
So what would you do? Let's just have a imaginary world where you're not a warrior for a minute.
Okay, that's impossible. All right, well, go ahead. I'll humor
You're going to have to humor me. Humor me. So you're not a warrior. You're in PvP, and you come up against a Berserker. What do you do?
So the biggest thing, I think...
You just log out?
You just log out immediately.
No.
I think the big thing is you have to see what kind of Berserker it is. If it's going to be the high Condi duration, burn specifically warrior, right? The thing you got to worry about is obviously when they get to their burning, because they're going to stack up a lot of it pretty quickly. And depending on what utilities they're going to run, they're going to have utilities that do CC, right? With the wild blow being the blowback, the headbutt. So you got to really make sure you watch the dodges. They do have some wind up. It's kind of like seeing Earthshaker and Backbreaker and those things. You'll have the wind up. And if they blow it, you realize you got a little bit of time to not really worry about getting CC by those things. Now, obviously, if they're running, hammer or mace or stuff like that, then you got to look at that and go, okay, I got to worry about those skills as well, right? But the big thing I notice is Condis is going to be tough if they go defense, because they're going to be using a lot of burst skills if they go into Berserk mode, which means they're going to be doing a lot of cleansing ire. So keeping Condis on them is going to be tough. However, because of that, if they go into Berserk mode, you realize you kind of like, okay, I know they're going to be trying to focus on burst, and a lot of them have pretty big windups. A couple of them don't, and the first time they go in, they're going to have quickness. So the first one they're going to fire off is going to be really quick. Whatever they're doing as soon as they go in is going to be really quick. So you have to realize and really look for when they go into berserk mode.
And hurry up and do something about it quickly.
Yes, yes. But I think the big thing is like CC is going to be really strong. They're going to have a quick stun break if they take the berserk. What is it? The rage, the primal stun break on 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's going to be quick. So stunning them is going to be tough. You know, I think the biggest thing is like you're going to have to look and watch exactly what kind of berserker you're going up against, and then I would focus more on trying to do like physical damage and CC, make them blow a lot of their stuff, and then try to really watch out for the big hits that are going to lead into a lot of burning damage or a lot of like quick damage. Because I think like a lot of things require setup, but if they can land the setup, the payout's huge.
Yeah,
right?
Seriously.
So I think that's kind of like what you got to look at. Is kind of like saying, okay, I need to be really careful I don't get headbutt, or else I'm going to have to blow some cooldowns and get away.
Yeah.
But keeping them at range, I think, is actually what I got to forget his name already.
Robert?
Robert, thank you. I was thinking Brandon, I don't know why. When Robert was saying, they don't have a lot of gap closers with berserker stuff, right? So they're going to rely on like Bull's Charge. They're going to rely on like Hammer to jump in or Greatsword to spin in, stuff like that. So keeping them in range, kiting them around, keeping like specific like movement impairing.
Hello again. Welcome back.
We burned the stream too much. It was just gone. There was a big fire. We put it all out. We're good, though. We're good.
Burn the stream away might be the new wash the stream away.
Definitely burned it away.
Awesome. Sorry about the technical issues. All right, so that's kind of a little bit on the counters there, but let's take a look at Legacy of the Foefire and open those chests because they're driving me crazy.
I know, I'm sorry. Get
rid of those. You're driving me up the wall. You have not logged in since reset.
My developer character, so it's got all the...
Yeah, the dev characters just go absolutely insane.
Yeah.
While Hugh is... good Lord. While Hugh is doing that, the Legacy of the Foefire map will kind of start by going over, let's go over what the extra thing is on this map first.
So the secondary mechanic on this map, and I'll kind of show it off here, I'll go ahead and start this PvP match, is...
I'm getting vertigo watching you move around.
I know, sorry. I'll go to my actual character here in a second. So... In Legacy of the Foefire, the secondary mechanic, because it's still a conquest map, still capture point, but the secondary mechanic is there is an enemy lord, which is funny. It sounds a lot like Stronghold, but this is the original. This is the original Guild Wars 2.
This was the first enemy lord, before it was cool.
Yep. So if you kill the enemy lord by going into the enemy base, so you'll see this guy kind of appear here, this beautiful, lovely Char and his bodyguards here. If you go through the enemy base by breaking through one of the two gates, so you have the one side, they call it the side gate, and then the front gate right here. Either breaking either of these, you can do melee damage or any damage to this. There's nothing, there's special mechanic here. You just take the gates down. You can run in here and then fight the Lord. And if you kill the Lord, you get 150 points immediately. There's no downstand on the Lord, so if you kill him, he's dead.
You're done. So, and with 500 points to work with, that's kind of a big thing.
Yes, yes.
So, will you know if somebody's at your gate or your Lord?
Yeah, definitely. It'll be pinging the map, letting you know. It'll be like, hey, guess what? You can have, your gate's under attack.
Your gate is under attack.
Your gate is under attack. It'll let you know.
Citizens.
Yes, your gate is under. It'll tell you that all the time. And then over here, it'll say when your Lord is under attack as well. Your Lord is under attack. Your Lord is under attack.
I go defend just to make it stop.
Yes. So let's go ahead and look at some of the points. So let's go. I'm going to fly through here because it'd be faster than me running around. So the first objective you're going to see here is the middle objective here, which is the, what is this thing called? I always forget. I always call it middle point. Graveyard. So Graveyard is actually one of the craziest points to fight on because it's huge. And like when you have a fight here in the middle here, it can get crazy because there's so much area. It is the biggest point in like all of PvP. So by fighting on this point, you can duck off. There's all kinds of ups and downs. You can do a little bit of line of sighting around these corners around here. Like a lot of times you'll see people, they'll duck around this corner, pop a heal, and then get back on here. Whoever controls the mid, with one ring to rule them all, if you hold mid, you pretty much have the biggest amount of map control because you have access to both side points. By coming up the staircase over here, you'll see you have access to this point over here, as well as on the opposite side, you have access to that point over there, right? So you have access to both points by controlling the middle. This is one of the maps we see a lot of times in competitive play. They call it one of the more snowballing maps because of the map is large. Traversing from one point to another is rather hard, and the fastest way to traverse it is by going through the center. So if you hold the center and you hold your home point, it's very easy for you to kill somebody or win a couple fights and then immediately transition over to the enemy side, take that point, and then what you have to do is you have to kind of convene your group together and go fight them on your home point and kind of work your way back out.
Okay.
All right? So one thing I'll kind of show you over here too is on these side points. So over here, we're going to go ahead and go to waterfall, I believe. Yeah, waterfall. When you go to waterfall, you're going to see, this is actually one of my favorite points to fight on because of a lot of line of sight. You can see right here, the terrain kind of dips down and you can kind of hide behind these rock walls. So I sit here and I'll like jump down here and I'll come over here and rock behind the rock wall. And someone's on the point. I'm actually still contesting the point. You can see that the point is actually right down here in the corner here. You can contest the point while actually line of sighting. Someone will then have to commit to you either by dropping AoEs or coming down this to come over here and get you. But then you have
never done that.
But then the great part is if they try to come down here, you can swing around this, line of sight them through the tree and get up here to the other side and so on and so forth. This is by far one of my most favorite points to fight on because of all the line of sight, being able to duck down. I've had fights where I was about to die. I duck down, get over there, wait for a couple of cooldowns, pop a couple heals, jump back down, flip around. Like I just do all kinds of crazy moves, and then somehow you can come out on top with that, or at least survive long enough for your allies to come get you, right, and help you with that stuff.
Now, just to show really quickly so everybody's clear, where exactly up here on the map, I'm like pointing
Oh,
for
I'm
you.
sorry. So this
right
will be
there.
waterfall over here on the mini map here, guys. I'll open the map as well. I will lie to you and not do that. I will show you the mini map here. Waterfall's over here. So if you're on red team, you're going to come out, and this is actually going to be far point. If you're blue team, it's actually going to be your home point. So that's where, like, you'll see a lot of times blue guys will come out of their base right here in this little portal, and they'll come up here. Now, that does mean that they have access to stuff like they can come around this edge over here and hop up here and kind of rain fire from here as well. So like I'll definitely see people, they'll come up here, and as they come to the point, they'll kind of look at it, and if they can't, they don't want to fight people on the point, they'll come up to the side over here and kind of use range and kind of pepper the point with some stuff like that. Red team does have a similar thing over here, or the other side has a similar thing. They can come over here and jump to the point by coming over here and jumping to, and or just sliding down and running around this way.
Nice.
So they have access to those ways. So this, by far, one of the most fun points to fight on. So let's go ahead and fly our way over here.
Yeah, these are dev. This is a
I'm
dev
using,
menu.
I'm using dev stuff here, guys, just to make
you're
it,
on a dev client.
because if not, it's going to take me forever to do this, and I don't want to take everybody's time.
So you guys watching PvP 101 to kind of learn how this stuff works for the first time, you're getting a better introduction than I ever. I just like stumbled my way through and was awful, like less awful than I am now, more awful than I am now.
It's definitely. That point is really fun to fight on, but yeah, this map has a lot of little things that kind of like set up. Like that is kind of something I don't see a lot of people do. They'll jump down and try to contest the point by going in the corner.
I never noticed that. I mean, everything's so quick that you're just like running around, and I go straight for the middle just because, I don't know, it seems like the place to be.
Yep.
But I am so going to try this, well, probably as soon as we're done here.
So this is the second point over here. So this is, we got the, I believe this is quarry. Yeah, quarry. So you can kind of do the same thing by standing on this corner right here behind this thing. It doesn't have as good a line of sight as other places, but if you stand behind it, you will block some projectiles because of the lip here at the top actually will put you about character height, which means that you will block projectiles by standing behind this guy and contesting the point here.
On the point.
Still on the point. Now, this one does have a little bit more disengage areas, so you're going to want to like jump off, and then you can come down here, but you're not contesting the point when you do this. So it's a little harder. Yeah, it's a little harder, but to get away, you do have this area, which is really, really nice. You jump off the point here, and you just have this big rock to kind of go around, but it's really high, and you can actually kind of hide from people down there as well. So if you jump down and try to run, like I use greatsword, and I can spin away. And by that point, if someone's going to come around this corner that far, they're essentially getting off the point, and it's an easy way to disengage. Same thing going around all these corners. A lot of times what you'll see is you know, when I was learning from some higher up players than myself, one of the big things is survival, especially on this map, because if you wipe, it snowballs really easily.
Right.
So one thing that you can do is, you'll see a lot of players do, is they'll jump down this specific area and try to go around this corner to where their spawn is. A player that's chasing you will probably not go all the way around this rock over here and go to your base, because one, you can easily go through this portal.
Right.
And just go back to your base and wait for your team. But the commitment from going all the way around this way to middle is like 20 seconds.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So a person who's chasing you has to weigh that risk, right? Of going like, do I run around this corner and essentially try to kill him, right? And if I don't, then I've wasted 20 seconds of my time out of the fight, and this person's still
You better
alive.
hope you're going to win that fight.
Exactly. Or if I run around that corner and someone's waiting for me, then I die, and now I'm stuck way off the point. No way my team's going to come and get me. And now I just have to bleed out, and these guys just leave and go back to the point. It's a 4v5. So disengaging around those corners, really figuring out like how the mobility to get around a lot of these corners to survive is going to be really important in mid to high level play, as well as just learning that at a low level, just to understand the map terrain. Now, I don't want to give out some of the secrets, but there's definitely some jumping puzzles that I know of that you can jump up here on this rock wall. So a lot of times you'll see somebody will blink up here, right? And as a warrior who does not have a blink, I learned that you can use specific jump arcs by jumping up this terrain to actually hop up here. Amazing for running away from somebody who doesn't have a blink, because I'll run up here and I'll just like hop my way up the rock, and they'll be like, "Come back! No, I don't know how to do this." And then I'll just run away, and then usually get killed by a thief sooner or later.
I was going to say, do you like stand up there and dance and laugh? But this is better.
Then thief just kills me.
Yay!
And if they could, they'd like push my body off the cliff to the guy who's down there, but they can't, unfortunately.
That would totally be me. I'm sorry, I really love my thief.
That's actually something I should talk about as well, is how good blink and mobility is on this map. Big shout outs to WTS guys, all the thieves, mesmers. This is like their playground. The fact that they can go from middle point, blink up to this immediately and run over to help a point, and like a warrior will have to go all the way around up the stairs and then go around. It doesn't sound like a lot. It doesn't sound like 5 seconds or 6 seconds is going to make the difference. But getting over to a point and decapping, because it only takes 5 seconds to decap, like that is all it takes to stop somebody, right? Is like blink up there and you're like, crap, now I gotta go follow that thief.
Right.
Thieves are amazing and mesmers are amazing because they can constantly blink up and do rotations to decap or force someone to always be at a point. By that, they can blink to a point, somebody goes back, they blink away, right? Jump off, fight that fight, now it's a 5v4, that person runs back, they blink back up, run back, now the person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same thing with mesmers. Thank you, Lord Helsef. He was amazing with his portal plays. By putting a portal on one of those points and leaving is the scariest thing in the world as a player who's supposed to defend that point. Because you're like, okay, I'm gonna go help the mid.
What's gonna come through there?
Yeah, I'm gonna go help mid fight, and all of a sudden that portal activates. You don't know if it's one person that's just going to come decap you and then leave, or it's going to be a team of people that are going to come over and kill you immediately and then leave one person there, right?
All 5 of them come pouring through.
Yeah, and because the ports are so far spread out, right? If they portal, they can portal from midpoint as far a little bit away from midpoint. So you have to like constantly watch the mesmers whenever they put that portal and immediately call it and have someone go run back to that point. If not, they're going to decap it. So
this is about to get awful.
Yeah, and so it's you see a lot of amazing plays on this map because of how big the map is, how important the center is, and stuff like that. So a big challenge I want for you guys when you do PvP 101, understand how important the mid fight is. Understand when you do the side points, try to do the line of sight stuff. Keep the point kept, especially when you're doing waterfall. Keep the point capped whilst trying to stay off the point. Survive, as well as like learn how to disengage. Learn where your paths are for disengaging around points. Try not to die. That's the biggest thing on this map. A lot of maps you can...
Is that only the homework for this week, or can Try Not to Die be just a standard?
That could be a standard for everything, but this map is really, really snowballing in a sense. Like, another thing you can do, and this is actually another thing I want you guys to think about, is when you guys die, wait for your team. Don't run back out as one. Tell her, hey, I'm going to go at home point, and I'm going to get everybody, let's all meet at home point, and let's push out together. That will dramatically increase your efficiency on this map.
Awesome. All right, so one thing that I've talked about before, I keep a custom arena that I use for practice with my guild. And I actually just realized that I turned it to, you can set your custom arenas up to whatever maps you want. I turned it to only Legacy of the Foe Fire, so I would be sure to get in there. And I forgot to turn it back on. Sorry, you guys. I'll fix that I'll fix that later today.
That's fun.
But this seems like one thing that I've done, and I haven't had time to do it with this one, but I've been trying to get in there more when there's nothing going on and there's no match and it's locked down where randoms can't come in, and just use that time to really take my time and run around the map and explore and get to learn it. This seems like the map to do that on.
Yes.
I'm realizing I've failed in not doing that.
There is definitely a lot of little nooks and crannies that you can jump up and like find line of sights and do stuff like that. So I would definitely suggest, if you do have a custom arena, or you do have a friend that has a custom arena, or even if there's an empty custom arena that has Legacy up, just run in and just run around the map. There's a lot of fun stuff that you can do, especially if you're a thief or a mesmer. Finding those blink spots, finding the ranges for those blink spots is absolutely huge.
Yeah, and you can't do it nearly as effectively during a match. So if you have one that's not active at the moment, that's the place to be.
Yep.
Spend some time in there. All right, so I will spend some playtime in there this weekend and see how I do. I'm going to bring out my thief, find those blink spots.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It always makes me laugh because it feels like anytime I watch a really good thief, or even a thief in general, they're playing a different game than me. Like, I'm like, I gotta run around this rock, I gotta go up these stairs, and there's like blink, 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 and I'm like, okay, he's gone. He's gone.
They're at the top going.
Yeah. Like, I love watching it. Like, I don't want to shout too many people. Like, one of the guys that was on the WTS, the thief for the absurd.
You can always shout out our players.
Mr. Magic himself.
There we go.
Mr. Magic himself.
You can say it. It's okay.
If you guys watch him, he's a thief, and he is absolutely amazing. And watching him play the game is like PvP specifically. He's a big PvP guy, obviously. Mm-hmm. It's like watching a totally different game. Like, I'll watch, like, you know, a lot of other streamers that play, and they're playing Warrior or anything like that. But when you watch him, he's like blinking away. He's like making a lot of split decisions, like to hit somebody, blink back in, teleport to this guy. Okay, I see this fight's going well. I'm gonna go do this immediately. Like, everything about that is awesome. And just, if you guys looking for stuff like that, especially for like Legacy of Far, watch any of his streams and stuff like that, and you'll see how important these side objectives are, how important learning what all the blink spots are.
Awesome. All right, so I will give it a try. Well, why don't we talk about some Berserker builds so we can start getting ready for Heart of Thorns, because 49 days.
Yes. So, one thing is I have been doing dungeons. I have been doing some raid testing.
Nice.
I can actually say that out loud. It scared me when I was coming on here talking about Berserker, and I've been testing it with that. And there's been some builds that I've seen, I've actually been trying out a lot, both in PvE and PvP. Practicing with the team, practicing doing raids, big group content, as well as 5-man group content within internally. And I've come up with a couple.
Big man group content.
Big man group man.
It was an all Norn
group.
group.
It's me, and then there's a couple really big men that I team up with that carry me along. But yeah, no.
So builds, you got some builds.
Yeah, so let's jump into game real quick, and I will show off kind of what I'm in PvP, but I will kind of show you. Yeah, please don't be mad at me. I'll show you kind of like what I use. I have a ton of crap in here for like every build I could possibly think of.
Your inventory hurts my feelings.
It does. I have Berserker gear. I have everything because this is what I used like when I was testing builds, trying to find the highest DPS damage. And so I came up with this build. I'm going to show off kind of the PvE dungeon build and kind of like what I have found to be really optimal as far as rotation goes. So first of all, I would definitely use, this is going to be a Condi build.
So pizza.
Veggie pizza, as well as the toxic crystals, give myself that extra boon condition duration by 10%, and then the 40% from this one. So It's a lot of that. I was using, let me show you, I'm using Balthazar runes. I am using Smoldering and Smoldering, double Smoldering.
Smoldering and Smoldering.
That's not good. That was really bad on my part. I must be using the wrong torch. Yeah, I'm using the wrong torch.
So this is the part of the build you shouldn't pay attention to.
Yes, and then Geo and Smoldering to keep that burn build, because you're essentially just stacking a ton of burn. Berserker is all about that burn. And then I was running some Ferocity or Berserker amulets to keep up my high crit chance and whatnot as well. But let's talk about the build.
Yeah.
So, on the build side, I was running Tactics, Arms, and Berserker. Now, Tactics is funny. The reason why I use Tactics for a couple things. One, because I was doing, I was kind of the off Phalanx warrior. So I was running Phalanx Strength. The Phalanx Strength is one where every time I get might on myself, I give it to allies. So it's kind of like an off Phalanx build to help the other Phalanx warrior in the group continue to give that might. Sweet. But then what I actually really wanted this for was the burning arrows, where my dual shot causes burning for, right now, because I don't have all the food on, this is about like a 3-second burn. Per auto attack, and you shoot twice.
Okay.
And yeah, it's crazy. It's essentially my DPS when I switch over to bow. It's blow through all my cooldowns and then use the one skill, and I'm actually keeping up fairly consistent burn stacks.
All right.
And then obviously empowering allies. Again, this is more for group content side of things. And then we use Signet Mastery because I want to get the extra precision from this thing when it actually procs, as well as I do use the healing signet to give myself the precision as well. And actually with Balthazar runes, it actually gives me a fire blast at the end of my heal for more burning. So I'm using it not for heal, but actually for more damage.
More burning.
All damage and
burning.
Blade Master, because one of my actual highest DPS is actually coming from Sword. And the new burst skill, which is the Berserk burst skill, which actually throws fireballs. And it also gives me crit chance against bleeding foes. So again, higher crit chance, higher damage, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then focus.
Ping.
Yes, crit hits gain a bonus adrenaline and gain a stacking quantity damage buff. I was able to get, depending on what I was doing with all the burn stacks and whatnot, I was getting up to about 10 to 20, depending on the rotation, stacks of this consistently.
Ow.
So I was getting a lot of extra condition damage from this trait. And then we go Last Blaze, which essentially just makes it anytime I use a rage skill, I get a burn. This gets up to about 5 to 6 seconds, which if you look at some of my cooldowns on some of these guys, they're really low. They're all my burst skills that I'm using, the rage skills. All of these guys are really low cooldown. So I'm essentially almost keeping up 50% uptime on burning just from using these in a rotation that I'll show in a second.
So I had a lot on my mind planning for TwitchCon, but as you go through this, I'm starting to remember the Berserker live stream and how I spent most of it going, oh, come on.
Yeah. this was it was a lot of fun actually getting this together and finding a really optimal rotation. We would go through and we would actually like compare notes with all the other people because we were trying to find really optimal high DPS
good stuff.
damage builds, and this was actually one of the ones I came up with. And then pretty much going down the entire middle line because it's all condition damage and burning. Heat and Soul, again, condition damage when I have the torch out, as well as the recharge is reduced. And then King of Fires makes it so I just get increased burning duration, as well as critical hit supply burn.
King of Fires.
Fires.
Not anything else.
Okay. So one of the things I wanted to show, without having all the food buff, you can see just by me using my auto attack, I get up to about 5 to 6, depending on when I get a couple procs of just burning. This is just the auto attack, right? And if I get up close, I can go like this, that, and I'm able to get another about 9 stacks just from 2 skills.
And the thing just explodes.
It just explodes. That's the trait. That's the trait I'm using right here, which is every time I have a chance to crit, burning foes spreads burning to nearby foes. So this is an AoE as well. That little explosion spreads the burn.
Oh, nice.
So talking about grouping things up and blowing them away, that's the way you do it. I used Arcing Arrow mostly for might, again, with the Phalanx build. So usually what I would do is I would usually start here in my sword, or I usually start in this, get a couple burns, pop everything, but keep Arcing Arrow off cooldown. Okay. And then switch over to lay a fire field down once I had max adrenaline. So it would kind of look like this. I'll no-death this guy because this is really optimal when fighting really high health things. Okay. Low health things, you're never gonna get this full combo off because they'll die way before that.
Yeah, they're gonna blow up before you can get
through. So this sweet golem here is alive.
Your target is now immortal.
He's immortal, so he's gonna survive this. So I'm gonna kind of show you what I can get off this. So again, this isn't 100% optimal because I don't have my food buffs on, but I'll kind of show you. Once I get up to 100%, it's pretty much I'll go through full rotation, slide this down, immediately weapon swap, headbutt, break the stun, go into Berserk, and then immediately use Flame. As soon as that's done, hit him with this, jump into it. I mean, this is all really high burning.
Without your food buffs.
Without my food buffs.
So it's going to get even more.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing right here, I'm hitting, it got up to about 4K burning, and it was falling off fairly quickly. He's still on fire, but you can see he will burn. I will get up to about 15, 20 stacks by myself, getting up to about 8K, 9K burning just by going through. So let me go through the rotation a little slower. Once I go out of, I put the burn field down from combustive shot. I have no adrenaline. Okay. So I take headbutt because headbutt will give me all the adrenaline as well as it gives me an interrupt. And interrupts are really important for some bosses because they use skills that require break bar. Because I have no other interrupts, a 3-second stun actually does a lot to the break bar, right? So I will swap, go start using my auto attack, and then immediately go into headbutt to give myself full adrenaline. I stun myself, but it does apply a burn when I use it because that trait I took. I immediately break the stun with this skill, putting another burn, and then I can immediately, because I have full adrenaline, go into Berserk mode. I get quickness because of Berserk mode, because that's one of the minor traits you get in Berserk. Immediately go into that and use the first skill on sword, and you see it gets up to about 10 stacks of burning. It has a low cooldown. While it's on cooldown, I can use my torch skills to kind of go through and get another one off right before it ends, right? But the thing that's crazy is
Oh, this isn't the thing.
Oh,
that's
no,
crazy.
no. This is why I was when I first saw the outrage skills, I think that's what they're called, right? No, I'm sorry, the rage skills. I was like, you know, I don't see them being used in PvE that much because of, you know, you usually take signets or anything like that to kind of give you passive damage, and then you're going to be using, you know, your actual weapon skills to doing a lot of damage. However, because he's on such low cooldown, and you get some of them that actually do damage, like they actually do damage, and I can make them do burning on top of that. Like this right here alone, right? You can see this one skill is going to do 5,000 damage to something by itself on a 15-second cooldown, and it's going to apply a burn, and it's got an AoE radius. So I'm going to hit it, and I know for sure that he's going to be bleeding for 13 seconds right now, not including if I had the Conti duration buffs, where it can get up to 20. 20-second bleed, 4 stacks, 5k, it's about 7k damage, plus the burn, plus its AoE, and it's only on a 15-second cooldown, and it builds adrenaline. Can I throw another and on there? And if you act now,
but wait,
you
there's
get this.
more.
There's more. So, but this is what makes the rotation really cool, because after I do headbutt into outrage, headbutt's on a 20-second cooldown, outrage is on a 10-second cooldown. I get a free outrage while it's on cooldown for damage. I get shattering blow, and when the headbutt comes back up, shattering blow will be back up. So I'll be able to essentially roll through my utility skills for damage, almost on cooldown, and they perfectly line up with each other to always be available to keep the damage going. So 3 of my utility skills are straight damage, burning, and condition, right? And all my weapon skills are damage and
all
burning.
the things.
This skill, this setup I found is really, really efficient for, again, it's really good against high health targets because you can really stack up that burning. Now, what you do sacrifice though, you have very little survivability.
Thank you.
Very little survivability.
It's like, throw me a bone
yeah,
here.
there's very little survivability on this build. You see, I actually take for Great Justice because I'm using that to get Fury as well as to get Might for the Phallic Strength. But if you really need it, you can switch that out for stability if you're fighting a boss that has a lot of knockdowns. You know, if it's the high damage, a lot of pulsing damage you can use Endure Pain and so on for that. But you kind of have to make that decision going in, and you can't change it when it starts. So. And those have long cooldowns.
You're committed.
You're committed, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So I love this build.
Right.
It feels super fun. It feels super fun.
Does it feel super fun for the person on the other end of it?
That mob, unless he can start posting on the forums, he loves it. He loves it. Until I see him post on the forums how much he hates it, I'm going to say he loves it.
I'm rolling a Tequatl account right now. Screw you, Hugh.
So. That's what makes this build really, really fun. I just loved that my utility skills on Warrior actually started doing...
He's still just...
I just love that my utility skills actually made my build, they worked with my build really well, and they actually provided me damage. Because usually I use my utility skills, especially like in PvP and stuff like that, they're all just defensive cooldowns. Balance Stance, Berserker Stance, Endure Pain, and then Signet of Rage, because I want the Might stacks and the Swiftness and the Fury, but it doesn't do damage. It just gives me more passives to allow me to do damage, right? But this was like, I headbutt, do damage, stun you, and I blow up in fire, and then I stun break it and set you on fire, and then I punch the rock and make you bleed and set you on fire. It does damage. Damage. I love it. It makes me feel so good when I hit that rock.
But how do you feel about it?
Oh, I feel great. I love it. No, it's been so much fun playing this, especially when I was doing, even dungeons and stuff like that. It felt really cool because I felt like I was constantly rolling through my keyboard. I wasn't just hitting 100 blades and then spinning and then weapon swapping and doing a couple of things and just relying on my weapon skills.
Waiting for cooldown.
I was really using a lot of my utility skills almost on cooldown, but had to position myself right so they're proc punches.
Yeah, that's what we want.
It felt really good.
Awesome.
So,
but very little survivability.
Yes, very little survivability. Let me tell you, if that boss looked at me even for a second, I take 2 hits. Guys, pick me up. Help me. He's still burning, I promise, but help me.
He'll be burning by the time I waypoint and swim back.
Yes, definitely.
All right, awesome. So that's PvE. High health mobs.
Yes. So we can jump back in real quick, and I'll show you just a slight variation of this, which I use for PvP.
All right.
So PvP, I really love the arms line. I think it was really good. I found myself in PvP using... I really liked the rage skill set people on fire. It was good. But because cleansing is so prominent and whatnot, this didn't seem worthwhile to me enough instead of having a condition removal and a stun break on going into berserk mode. So I still kept most of this, but
you're stuck in combat.
But yeah, I would use Savage Instinct to keep myself always having a stun break, another Condi removal. It was good because also when you go into this with Cleansing Ire, so I'll just take this out for now, so show off Cleansing Ire. With Cleansing Ire in defense,
you gotta get out of combat.
I lied. I'm gonna do magic teleporting dev tricks. When I had Cleansing Ire, when you're in berserk mode,
there we go.
When you're in berserk mode and you use a burst skill in berserk mode, that counts as a level 3 berserk skill. So I get 3 Condi removals. So it made me really immune to Condis, right?
Nice.
I had another stun break, and I don't really see, only real stun break I have out of this, well, Outrage is my stun break, as well as Headbutt's my stun break. So it gave me another one. So it's really hard to lock me down, and I have pretty decent Condi removal. But what I would do is I would actually get rid of the Phallic Strength line here, and this is where I would put defense. And I would do this, and I would get Cleansing Ire, I would go Defy Pain, and I would get Dog and March. This is very standard warrior trait line build. But with just this alone, I still had pretty high Condi duration.
Yeah.
With in Defy Pain, I have essentially a don't burst me, bro, for a couple seconds when I get low.
We are missing opportunities when we name things around here.
The old don't burst me, bro skill trait. But I had Condi removal. I have that, but I can actually, because one of my utilities down here I was using for shouts, I wouldn't use that in PvP per se, but this gives me the opportunity to look at the enemy team and either take, Endure Pain or take Berserker Stance and stuff like that. I still would use Heat and Soul. If I was going more offensive, Blunt Reaction is really good because it gives me the ferocity based on my precision. So it's actually really good. If you want to go, instead of Condi, you can actually go this and go like Greatsword and whatnot. It's actually really strong too. But for me, I was using a lot of Heat and Soul because I loved being able to use Flames of War and just stick on people, and they can't get me off me, and I'm able to keep constant pressure with the burn just by standing next to me. So even if there was like a thief that would jump me and stun me, and they try to get me, I would just sit that up and just be like, if you're gonna stand by me, you're just gonna take the burn stacks.
Why thief in particular? Why are you picking on my thief?
Because I hate them. They always kill me.
Yes. Yeah, we do.
But then what we did is King of Flames, I think, was really good. But this is Eternal Champion, aptly named. I really liked this. Like it was really hard for me to think about this. When I was under a lot of pressure, you could go a somewhat actually tanky build with Berserker with Eternal Champion and the stun break. Because getting the constant stability when you go in this makes it so you have an option to stomp people to go into this, as well as you can pop Endure Pain, because it's essentially a pulsing 3-second stab on yourself. It's really good for stomping people.
Worth it.
Really, really good. But again, if you're going for more damage, I'd say King of Flames. But then on here, I had Smoldering on my PvP build with Battle. But this is easily, you could take something else here. I actually wound up taking, when I swapped into this, I was actually going with the, what is it? Hydromancy.
Okay.
Because I wanted that chill, slow them down, keep them around me. Because the only really cripple I had was on Blazebreaker and Savage Leap. But when I get into, when they usually are pressuring me because I'm in Longbow, when I would swap, I would get a free one. And if they cleanse that because they're chilled, I immediately can put the cripple back on them and make sure they stop running, and then I can catch them, right? Because you don't really have any really crazy movement skills other than Savage Leap.
Yeah.
So you had to make sure if you don't have Savage Leap up and they're not crippled, they're probably going to be able to kite you around. So you got to be careful. I'm
kicking myself for not being logged into my thief on this rig.
It's just killing me.
Warrior, so I can set this up with you.
Yeah, but
I'll be going back and watching this episode later so I can set my warrior up.
Definitely though, guys. Take a look at this. This is what I've come up with. I'm sure you guys will come up with stuff even better than what I've come up with, and probably put it on the forums or put it on YouTube and be like, Hugh, you thought your build was good. Let me show you something better.
Fight me.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. No, do that. But yeah, guys, really take the time and look at some of these things, because when I first saw, I was like Phallic Strength Warrior. I went in there with the generic Phallic Strength Warrior when we did. We started doing raids, we started doing group content and stuff like that, or just, dungeons and whatnot. And I was like, this just is so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need to. But then I switched and I did that build and I really optimized it, really thought through all the foods, talked to a couple people, and I did it, and I was actually pulling way more damage than Phallic Strength Warrior. And but I didn't have the support. I was not a support, right? It was very, very me. It was all about me when I was using that build.
That's okay.
So, but it was different, right? And it made me feel like I was playing a different character, which was really nice.
Yeah. As a side note, how good does it feel to be able to say raids?
Oh my God,
Raids.
It feels so good. When I came on here, the last time to talk about Berserker, I had literally just come from.
We were talking about that because you said, I don't remember how it came up, but you mentioned, yeah, sorry, I was busy. I was doing some raid testing in there, and I immediately like tensed up.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Are we live? No.
Yeah, no.
We're not
my
live.
God, please.
It's okay.
Please don't do that, please. Oh my God, I was like, it's just whenever I talk about it, just don't say anything. Just
now we can say it.
Yes.
Watch this. Raids.
I know. Oh man, and they're a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I've been having a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. Oh, it's gonna be so good to watch. I want to see.
And you're all set with the build.
Yeah, and now you guys can. I would say try this build. I used Sinister Gear. I don't know if I said that for my stuff. I used Sinister Gear, but you can use Carry On or anything like that as well if you want to go a little tankier with the HP. But if you're all in, you go that Sinister Gear and you go in. But yeah, guys, try the builds out. Both of them I think are fairly good, but obviously make your own tweaks. If your playstyle's a little different, try something different.
Yeah, and you know what? You can try the builds during our beta weekend event, which is now.
Now. Literally, you could be setting this up right now and going into a dungeon. You are actually playing a dungeon right now, aren't you? You're supposed to be listening. Listen to me. Okay, you can go ahead and keep playing.
Are you okay there? You all set?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we had some microphone issues, but we're all good now. So Jebro is visiting Seattle for a few days, so he came to not replace Hugh, but just give Hugh a little break on PvP 101.
No one could do that.
It's impossible. Do you have any stories? Did you bring stories? Because story time with Hugh.
I don't really have many stories. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not as quite the storyteller as you. I'm good about travels and stuff, but people probably don't want to hear about that. They want to probably hear about Guild Wars 2, I suppose.
I personally like the stories about travel, but that's okay.
Okay, that's all right.
So what we are going to talk about today, we've talked a lot on PvP 101 about using meta battle to find builds and learning to use them and getting better as a PvP beginner.
Yeah.
But once you find a build you like, read up on it, load it up and take it out for a test drive. We want to talk a little bit about how to use that. What's your next step? How do you get better, get good? And we have introduced the new stats page in game. So I brought Jebro on to talk about that and kind of walk us through it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's. So we used to have the old stats page. So as you can see on screen, it's just a video on my channel where I just kind of talk about it. But basically, there's no worries. There's been a couple of additions. Now it depends if in general, it's not massively important to know how much your damage you're doing or healing and whatnot. But if you're a new player, especially, and you think, in other games, maybe you've got some kind of damage meter or heal meter and stuff like that. But here, you've actually got, an amount of healing you've done. So if you've gone into a game, say you're a Bunker Guardian, you've gone to Meta Battle, and you've picked Altruistic Healing Guardian, stuff. Mace, shield, whatever you want to use. Yeah.
Really like that.
And then you've got an Elementalist and you're playing Dagger. They do a lot of kind of passive healing as well as going through their water achievements and whatnot.
Yeah. So you kind of want to know if you're doing that well.
Yeah.
So why don't we start, where do you find this? If you you guys aren't familiar, this shows up at the end of the match?
Yes. I mean, right at the end of the match, so you've got, the team point score, as you can see on the screen, and it's on the third tab. So where it is right now on the screen, you can see it on the stream. You can see different stats right there. So it's the third tab, so you can click on that, you can print screen, so you can check all your stats later, and, you can keep a little folder of your stats and see how maybe you've improved. So as a team, coordinated together, if you're a Bunker Guardian, you want to be in team fights as an example. And a Bunker Guardian, if you're new to the game, he is very supportive. He removes conditions. He gives out healing. And you can see all of that info on the stats, like how many conditions you've removed, how much condition damage you've put out. So if you're conditioned, if you're an Elementalist, say, and you're putting out burning and you're putting out damage and conditions, you can see how much that's ticking up. So you can test it as a class, especially if you're solo.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
How much of this kind of damage did I do? How many buffs did I give to my allies? How many conditions did I remove?
Yeah.
all of that. And as you're tweaking a build too, if you start getting adventurous and making your own builds, moving away from meta battle a little bit, which I will totally confess I have not done. I'm still relying on meta battle very heavily after a year, but that's okay.
I mean, meta battle was great for like the meta
wonderful.
builds.
It's perfect.
Really, really good because they're the builds that like the top players are playing. So you're definitely on the right track.
Yeah.
To be like those guys who are kind of, you know, shaping the way the scene is, the PvP.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. So if you're working with one of those meta builds and want to see, all right, am I getting better? Where do I feel like I'm lacking on this? This is the tool to say, all right, like you said, screenshot. I've screenshotted a couple. I can look at one. I can look at the next one and see if I improved by focusing on this, that, or the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's all very relative to what situation you're in. It's just really, it's quite a nice guide to see, you know, I played this game, same map, fairly same team comp that we have. We've been going to the same similar situations. Am I putting out enough damage? Am I putting out enough healing? And in this game, I was doing, you know, like 2 or 3k less, which is probably not much in terms of healing, really, because you can see the stats on the board are quite extensive there. If you look at, I was playing
like a breakdown.
Yeah, it is, especially for like, you know, in this build here on this screen, it's a Mesmer PU Shatter build. So all that direct damage you can see is on the top left-hand side. So you can see offensive, defensive, and also the final under supportive line as well. So it's kind of nice. Like the first day, sometimes these things sneak through and we don't really pay attention to them. But I enjoy this just because I guess it might also be a little bit selfish. I like to see how much healing I'm doing.
It's self-improvement.
Yes, self-improvement.
See how I spin that?
That was good.
Thank you. You can be selfish too if you want.
Yes.
So,
yes. I mean, and when you're like solo queuing, it's really useful. I mean, I don't look at it all the time, but it's nice to know at the end of the game, it's that extra bit of stat, and it just it's a sign of things to come. You know how maybe these things are being thought about, and that's how I would think about it anyway. And yeah, I like it. It's just that extra addition to PvP, which just adds a little bit.
And it's pretty simple. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a pretty simple breakdown, but it is an incredibly helpful tool. So if you have not used it, that as a beginner in PvP, or if you're a little more casual like we are here on PvP 101, it's really, really helpful just to snap a screenshot of that at the end and use that as a learning tool and to improve your gameplay.
Completely.
So, yep. This was a pretty simple one. There's not a lot to delve into, but thank you, and thank you for helping us find that.
No worries.
All right. All right, guys, that was all we have for this week. So I will see you next week on PvP 101 and Points of Interest, and I'll see you this weekend in game. Thank you, Jebro.
No worries.
Bye, guys.
See ya.